everybody, and welcome back to the Great Debate. I want to thank you for your questions. I hope you'll continue to ask questions about any issue that you want. You can either put it as a comment or as a video response, and we'll include them. All your questions will be answered in the Great Debate. For this time, we have a couple. Izzy Speaks has asked, how will you beat down Big Pharma along with their tax lobbyists, bribes, and stop the vaccines? Now look, I'm not any more against Big Pharma than I am against any other big industry. What I'm for is for them to pay their fair share, and I'm against sweetheart deals and subsidies. But let me set the record straight as far as vaccines go. I lived through the polio epidemic of the 1950s. My brother caught polio, but fortunately he recovered fully. But a lot of people didn't. This was a terrible disease, and now it is found very rarely in the United States, and only in countries where there's a lot of superstition and suspicion, things like that. I also remember the Asian flu epidemic, which killed thousands of people. Now, as I mentioned, polio it hardly exists, except in a few pockets. And we have flu epidemics every year, but because we have flu vaccines, they hardly kill anybody, and they hardly make the news. So there's a lot of bad information out there about vaccines. The fact is that there's no evidence that they cause autism or mental retardation. Yes, there's a possibility of side effects from every medication or every procedure, but there's no more of that happening with vaccines than anything else. Sometimes when bad things happen to people, they look around for someone or something to blame, and that seems to be the case with vaccines. And as a result, there's a lot of fear and a lot of ignorance, and it's sad because people are going to die because of this misinformation. Ignorance really can kill. Now, Big Pharma is a big industry, and it needs regulation and supervision just like any big industry does, but for real reasons, not just out of hysteria.
Hi, I also want to thank you for coming back and checking out the Great Debate and asking your questions and giving Honest John and myself a shot at taking a shot at each other. So, thanks. Yeah, Big Pharma, that's a good question. Well, first of all, let's talk about the lobbyists. I'm not crazy about this whole lobbyist situation. There's too much corruption and money moving around, and it seems that the people who can afford the most lobbying fiduciary ammunition seem to be the ones who are the biggest assholes. So I think we'll just kind of cut that shit out. Now, as far as beating down Big Pharma, I gotta agree with most of what Honest John said, except for a couple of things. Number one, I think that it wouldn't be a bad idea to just go in there with a bunch of fucking sticks to a board meeting and just beat the motherfuckers down. But that's just me, That's just the street in me, and, maybe that might or might not be a good idea, but, depending on circumstances, that could happen. Now, I think that corporate executives, CEOs, board members, those people who make decisions, in these companies should be their own goddamn motherfucking customers. Now what that means is that if you're making, I don't know, if you're building fucking Fords, you better drive a goddamn Ford, not a Mercedes or a Jaguar or something like that. You should be using in your life the products that you manufacture, that you produce. And the same thing goes with the pharmaceuticals. I think board members and executives and CEOs and whatever and their families and their best friends should be the ones who test the drugs. I don't see how there could be a problem with that. I think everybody needs to know that that everything that is out there in the marketplace is safe to use. And they should also, you know, as another thought here, they should also have to pay out of pocket for the drugs that they use in a percentage. So for example, if you're some, you know, poor schmuck who's making 20 grand a year and you got to spend $800 a month on your medication, the same percentage should apply to the motherfucker who's making $30 million a year, if you know what I'm saying. I think that would motivate people to kind of get a little bit more, oh, I don't know, fucking fair.
Practical Magic 9 asks, paper or plastic? An excellent question. A very important question. Paper takes out trees. Plastic clogs our landfills. But paper bags are hard to carry and plastic bags can be flimsy. A paper bag in a plastic bag actually works best, but is politically incorrect. Maybe we should just steal the whole fucking shopping cart. Let me think about it and get back to you on that one.
Maybe we're buying too much shit. Maybe that's what the problem is. Because if we all did what I do, it would be fucking easy. I just take the crap that I buy and put it in my pockets and get the fuck home.
She also makes a point that she's in favor of the cheaper evil and not necessarily the lesser evil. exileguy is neither the lesser evil nor the cheaper evil. As a matter of fact, I would say that he's a very expensive evil. So I hope that answers your questions.
If you look at my campaign videos, if you follow anything that I've said at all, you'll realize that I've offered to do this for free. I'll hold the office for free. Nobody is going to have to fucking pay me to be the goddamn president. I'm not here for the money. I'm not here for the power. I'm not here for the glory. I'm just here because I love the motherfucking American people, alright? All I'm looking for is a little room and board and maybe a car ride now and then, but I expect to spend all my time in the motherfucking White House taking care of goddamn. So there's the cheaper evil. Now as far as, you know, the lesser evil, you know, fucking Honest John, he's right. I am not the motherfucking lesser evil. So when I'm president, the only thing I can fucking say to you right now, anybody, the whole world, I don't care if you're a government, if you're a fucking terrorist, whoever the fuck you are, don't fuck with me.
I have a couple of questions from Isnit. Every month, the government sends thousands of people to prison, quite often privatized for-profit ones, under harsh sentencing guidelines and mandatory sentences. Will you end this? Yeah, politicians love to do the tough on crime thing. And so we have all of these mandatory sentences and anti-crime laws. But you notice that they never impose these mandatory sentences on the crime that they commit, like corruption and bribery. Most white-collar crimes receive pretty light sentences, no matter how much damage they do. So I will get rid of all mandatory sentencing. A judge is supposed to exercise judgment. He's supposed to become familiar with the case and take into account subtleties that can never be covered by a blunt tool like a mandatory sentence. Let's let judges do more than just read printouts. Let's let them use their discretion. I would, however, increase the penalties for white-collar crimes. If you've had everything go your way, and you're working in a nice, cushy, well-paid office job, and you screw up, you should pay for it. Nowadays, you can do a lot more harm with a keystroke than you can with a gun.
Well, I'm really glad you asked that question because it touches on a big part of my motherfucking platform. Now, first of all, victimless crimes, say drug use or prostitution or, whatever. I don't know what else could be victimless, but things that you do to yourself that are illegal will no longer be illegal. And all these people are going to be released from the jails and the prisons. So the drug offenders and hookers and the whole thing. So you can take whatever fucking drugs you want, put whatever you want in your motherfucking body, and fuck whoever you want as long as they let you. Now, as far as the fucking privatized prisons are concerned, I think the whole concept is fucking absurd. And it's something that Honest John and the fucking rest of the mafia thought up, how to figure out a way to make money off your goddamn, prisoners. The first thing that's going to happen is all these places got to be fucking shut down, alright? And the non-violent offenders, we'll make a judgment, we'll see if we can have them re-enter society. But all the hardcore motherfuckers, you're going to motherfucking Texas. That's the whole deal. Texas won't be around that much longer. It doesn't matter. When you commit a crime, and you're guilty of that crime, and it is not a victimless crime, you're fucking going to Texas. How's that for a goddamn mandatory sentence?
His second question is, which of you will establish a cabinet-level agency aimed at reducing virus attacks and researching free internet porn? I'm sure we have people in the military and intelligence services that are working on the problem of virus attacks and hacking. I'd like to see a technology that would trace a virus back to its computer of origin and fry it and the person using it. I don't know whether it needs to be a cabinet level job or just part of the Department of Homeland Security. But from what I've read, not enough is being done about this stuff. And I would make sure that more does get done. As for researching free internet porn, I don't think that needs to be a cabinet level department. I have done a small amount of research in this area, and I'm convinced it's better left to the private sector. Some people are against any government role in our lives at all, and I'm not one of them. But I don't think we need the government involved with porn. You have to just know when to pull out. I hope that answers your questions.
Well, this is a question that's kind of near and dear to my heart, because I believe the government should be the one who's providing the porn. I think there should be an agency within government that manufactures pornography, whether it's print or video or whatever. And if it's video and you're accessing it on the internet, it would be a secure situation, because it would be all of the resources of the government making sure that it's secure. And what that means is that you'll have everything happening in Washington as it should be. There's so much fucking going on in Washington, D.C. Why not record it? Why not put it on the motherfucking internet? Why not make it fucking free for everyone? And why not have it be secure? I think it's fucking beautiful. I think it's a great idea. I think that it could be a cabinet level position, or it could be an entry level position. It really doesn't fucking matter. All that matters is that the porn is free and there's no viruses. I think it's great.